and welcome to Stream of Consciousness, everybody. We are soDugger, and I'm doing it, Mr. Bill. Bill, how are you doing today? What have you been doing this week?
What have I been doing this week? A lot of nothing. We've taken the week off with stream for the most part. I don't think I had my first stream until like Wednesday after we did Stream of Consciousness last week. I pretty much took the rest of up till Wednesday off, the better part of a week. So I'm feeling good. Damn near blew out my shoulder last night. That was fun. Turns out 20 years of martial arts experience does not directly translate into parkour, and concrete hurts. Yeah, lots of good things going on this week. You know, life is a roller coaster, and I've seen all the ups and the downs. It had some great moments in my toxic relationship, and started to talk to someone who is significantly less toxic. And man, when you realize the difference between shit relationships and good relationships, it's kind of crazy.
That it is. I can absolutely relate to that. I think earlier this week you were talking about like just getting back in and like working and like really working with your body mechanics and how good that felt after so long of not doing that. And that reminded me that this week was, something that we started doing was me and my partner started doing yoga. And one of the things I used to do yoga a long time ago, I did P90X, and we, during the P90X routine, you go through a section of P90X where you're doing yoga quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then, but like I haven't done it in a long time, and we've been kind of gestures broadly at everything. And so it's been a while since I've been like majorly active. And I thought, well, what I really want is I want flexibility. I want to feel good. Like I don't really care about getting in shape or, being stronger or any of this or any of that. What I want is to just sort of kind of feel better in my body. Yoga is a great way to do that. It works on body mechanics, like, and a lot of really good stretches and kind of, making sure that you have good range of motion. After the first session, we, mostly did some sun salutations, which is, very beginner set of stuff. And, we did that for, I think, 30 minutes. It's pretty good little warm up. And felt great, felt fantastic that day, that night. 2 days later, shoulder is killing me, like my back is killing me. And I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. But I know that the more I do it, right, the more that I move my body in those ways, the better I'm going to feel and the less that's going to happen. So I felt the shoulder pain because I when I was in college, I dislocated my shoulder playing football. And so there's still kind of a twinge there whenever I put it in a specific position. So I definitely felt that shoulder pain when you were talking about it. So
yeah, I mean, for anybody who hasn't heard the story, I know I told it like 5 times on my own stream this morning. But as somebody who's done martial arts for 20 years, when I look at something conceptually, even if it's in a discipline that I'm not trained in, like parkour, when I can look at something conceptually and understand it, I don't like to go through all of the extra steps of like, this is how we build to this. I tend to go, all right, we're just going to go for it once. And if we don't figure it out there, then we'll break it down. So I was in the gym, more or less alone. The owner was in the bathroom, and the other instructor who I'm working with was in the back, like taking out garbage or something, wherever he was. And it's something that I've seen everybody do a handful of times, where it's called a tic-tac. Basically, you just kind of come at a wall at a corner and, step off the wall to elevate yourself to another surface. And we have a wall with an 8-9 foot bar pretty much directly adjacent to it for practicing specifically that. I was like, you know what? This seems easy enough. I want to try it. So I just kind of went for it. everything went great until I realized I had far too much momentum. And that is the part of parkour that kicks my fucking ass, is understanding how much or how little momentum to have going into fucking anything. So I jumped up, I made it to the bar, I'm here, and then I go, fuck, I can't hold the bar. And I just dropped 9 feet directly onto my shoulder. Thankfully, our range of motion is kind of back. It doesn't hurt as much to have range of motion. It's not all there, but it doesn't hurt. So hopefully by like Saturday when I have to go teach again, I'll have full use of my shoulder.
Well, I'm glad that you're not permanently injured in your first couple of weeks of your brand new job. That would be bad. So something that we touched on a couple of times in the past couple of sessions has been basically like having a plan going into a stream, having a plan going into your broadcast or whatever you're doing, and having that plan and kind of not necessarily having to stick to it, but at least having a direction that your stream is going to go in so that you know what to do when you come up against, say, a lull or, you know, an issue, as it were. So talk a little bit about what you do when you can, what you do in the planning process for your streams, whether that's, you know, preemptively going, you know what, here's what I'm going to stream today. If I have something that I want to talk about, I'll talk about my fall. And then talk about not planning but making it look like you have a plan because you can BS your way through it.
That is the secret of my entire stream.
There you go. But yeah, talk about that.
Very rarely do I have anything more than I woke up and decided this is what I'm streaming today. Very, very rarely. Because I stream, you know, I wake up at like 8:30. I get the kids on the bus at about 8:45. I stream around 9 in the morning. So very much like the first 20 minutes of my day is like, make sure the kids are ready, get the kids on the bus. What the fuck am I streaming? So there's like plenty of times, and I know you've seen it because you've called me out on it before, where I will wrap stream, and then go, you know what? I think tomorrow we're gonna do this, or we're gonna do this, or we might do this. I don't know. And then I go live the next day, and I'm doing none of those three things. Like never have I ever been like, tomorrow we're gonna do this thing, or maybe this thing, and then done either of those things. It is always like, I'll do one of these three things. Okay, option 4 sounds fun. Like, today I told myself, you know what, maybe we'll stream Hades. I got an event coming up I need to prep for. Maybe we'll stream Diablo, because I've still been having a lot of fun with Diablo. And I woke up and I went, I want to play League. So we streamed League of Legends this morning for like 3 hours. And we streamed a little bit of New World. Like, that's how my planning goes. Sometimes I will, like, if I'm really into trying to put out specifically one thing, I will take the time to be like, okay, like when I did my Final Fantasy X playthrough, I had a rough idea of what I wanted to do, how far I wanted to get, what I wanted to accomplish in-game before I started streaming. So, you know, whether it was, okay, today we're going to go get this secret Aeon here, and then we'll do some farming and this stuff. But I mean, beyond that, I don't plan my streams. I very loosely plan my streams at best. Like, you know, that's as long as you have an idea. If you have some idea of where you're going, you don't need to know exactly how you're going to get there. And I fucking live my life by that. I find point A and point B, and then whatever happens in the middle fucking happens, but eventually we're going to get to point B.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
That's how I plan.
I mean, that's definitely a way to do it. I have operated that way before, where I've literally just been like, all right, fuck it, I'm just going to hit live and go. And then I've been doing something lately. Specifically, I started, when I was playing Final Fantasy and going through the Final Fantasy games, and then also with Kingdom Hearts, and then recently with like Dream Daddy, I was planning out kind of, beforehand, what do I want to accomplish, right? What do I want to do today? Sometimes I have a rough idea, and then when I get in stream, I cement that idea down. Sometimes I know exactly what I want to do, and then as soon as I get in and I start doing, I'm like, I want to do something completely different, and I just go off script. Yep. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about was some of the ways that I have like gone into planning what I wanted to do. And one of those ways has been like, okay, well, let's say I wanted to play New World this week, right? And I wanted to plan all my streams for New World for a week. And I'm using New World as an example because everybody's playing New World right now. And
rightfully so.
It's still topping the Twitch charts. It's absolutely everywhere. It's a fantastic game. Definitely, if you're into any type of like crafting, building systems, or MMO style games, definitely go take a look at it. But let's say I wanted to plan a stream around New World, right? There's so many things to do in New World that it can kind of be overwhelming. And if you're just like existing all the time and all you're doing is just existing in stream. So there are a couple of different approaches that I would take. One is, what is your plan for your content, right? So like, let's say you're approaching this from a standpoint of like, I want to do this to create content, not as a sort of social thing or as a, blow off steam, I'm going to stream type thing. But like, I'm creating content now and I want to put this content out and promote it and go with it. So in that vein, you have to ask yourself, what's the question that I think, many people ask is, what is my content going to be? What am I going to do? If you're doing instructional videos on New World, right? And you're like, all right, cool. Day one is going to be questing and leveling. So my instructional video is going to be, what's the best way to approach picking up the billion different quests that are hanging around? You can only have 6 on your screen at one time to track. Do I do them? How do I go about doing them the most efficient way? What's the best weapons to use? How do I, travel around a bunch of different directions? Like what's, fast traveling? How do I do that? Do I just run everywhere? How do I want to do that? So you approach your videos in those ways. And if you're making video content for YouTube, then that's one, you record your gameplay and you kind of cut it up in ways that kind of gives you those little sound bites. If you're doing a stream like we do, then the thing to do is to put yourself in situations where you are answering those questions on your stream, right? And so that you have what we like to call clippable moments. Right? Clippable moments allows you to take those clips, take those moments, and then essentially turn them into little bite-sized chunks that you can then put out on social media to advertise your stream. So that's sort of the way that means. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying planning, is have that idea like, oh, I want to do this today. And then plan on answering those questions, like the questions that you might have. For example, if in PvP, how should I go about doing PvP? Should I sit and have PvP flagged all the time for the extra, experience buff? Or am I just going to get griefed constantly? Or is this going to happen? Or should I go with party? Or should I, quest with friends? That kind of thing. So those are all questions that you could get asked. that might be a question you have in the community. If you've asked that question, somebody else definitely has, and there should be somebody out there with an answer. You could be that somebody with an answer, so you basically would create that video. So that's the kind of planning that I'm talking about. Now it doesn't have to go into super in depth where you're like scripting out your streams, because that seems ridiculous. But I've gotten to the point where I'm ready to okay, so this day is going to be leveling and questing. So if I get questions about leveling and questing, traveling, weapons, builds, that kind of thing, then I can do that. This day is going to be about trade skills. So I'll talk about trade skills and how to build stuff and like what all that does and how to make money and that kind of thing. And then, and that's about as much as I've done in planning, for the week of New World, as it were. So.
Well, I'm excited about New World Week. That's actually happening, right? That's like a thing you were planning on doing? I
mean, at some point, I would love to. I'd love to just hit live and go live for an entire week. That would be great. So I started this week streaming New World. I haven't really kind of laid out a plan yet on what I'm doing. This week it's been really fun. New World is a game that kind of captures my interests in ways that like a lot of other games sort of halfway do. And then, but this has all of the little elements that have drawn it together and have kind of really created sort of a critical mass as far as taking up brain space, because that's all I think about doing right now. But yeah, New World has been fantastic.
Speaking of the word Critical Role starts next week. Duggar, are you excited?
That is true. I don't know how excited I am. I know I'm excited. I really am excited for campaign 3, but I am right now. I am watching Dimension 20. I just picked up and I'm going to start watching Exandria Unlimited because I never picked that up while it was live. And so I'm going to be watching a bunch. I've been watching a lot of D&D, and what it's gotten into my skull is that I miss playing D&D. And I like the idea of sort of like of living it vicariously through other people, but I miss participating. Like I miss being in a part of it. Right. I've got a lot of character ideas that I want to play with. I've built a lot of characters that I want to continue playing with. And so it's sort of this cycle, right? Where, I'm into watching. I want to see what's going on. I love the idea of, the cast and seeing them play again. And like, it's really neat to kind of see them in the world and learning about their new characters. Like, I'm really excited to see what Taliesin Jaffe is going to do because he always does something crazy.
And Sam, I cannot wait for Sam's character. Sam has had the best characters out of every campaign. Fucking Terry was great. Scanlan was great. Fucking Not the Brave. Are you kidding me?
I love it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, fantastic. And anything that Sam does turns to gold. So I love them and I love watching their thing. I'm not hip to the controversy that's going on with them right now. I know that there are a lot of people that are like somehow angry that they made a bunch of money in 2019 and 2020. And I'm like, are you, do you guys, I mean, I've watched those streams. Do you guys remember at any point when they asked for people to buy subscriptions to their thing? Do they ever do a call to action? Like ever?
No.
I've never.
The only time you hear a call to action from Critical Role is if they're partnered with a charity and they are pushing incentives to donate to said charity.
Yeah.
That's the only time Critical Role comes out and is like, hey, do this thing and give us your money. They promote their merch. They say, hey, we've got new merch on the store, but they're not like, buy our merch now.
and they're a company, like that's a full company of like, I think something like 40 to 60 people. It's a huge production that they put on for the 7 or 8 people that are playing the game. There's a lot of people, a lot of staff, a lot of things that happen that they have to pay for. And I wonder where everybody thinks that like that's going to come from. Does this everybody? I think it comes down to fundamentally, a lot of people do not understand. Yeah, I was going to say the only call to action, Frank just talked about it. The only call to action was the Kickstarter, in which they were like, hey, come, we need a couple $100,000 to do this animation and pay the studio. And they're like doing this. And we gave them $11 million. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, we can actually do a lot with this now. And to me, it comes back to what I said before. People fundamentally misunderstand that this is a career, that the people doing this job it's a job, right? And yeah, there's a lot of people doing this as a hobby in the same way that there are a lot of semi-professional football players. There are a lot of semi-professional baseball players, right? They're not necessarily going out and earning paychecks every weekend, but they're going out and playing, and they're getting paid for it. The misunderstanding is that we're creating content and content creators as a whole are entertainers. We are entertaining and creating entertainment. Critical Role, better than anyone else on Twitch, as far as I'm aware, has, I believe they had like the record for subs, and they were making, I think they were top 3, if not top 1, as far as like what they were making per year in just subscriptions. I think it's $9.8 million, which is awesome.
And they stream once a week. Critical Role is live a single time a week.
Mm-hmm.
They are live
4 to 5 hours a week.
4 times a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep, 4 to 5 hours. They stream just enough, right, and have just enough viewership to keep partner, if you look at it, because they do restreams sometimes of their content, which counts as live time. So they'll do like reruns of their content. And so that counts as live time. So when people go back to watch, even if they don't go back to watch, they're streaming the minimum amount of time. And then based on the fact that like when you tune into Critical Role Live, you're tuning in with 50,000 to I guarantee you next week it's going to be 100,000 people watching that broadcast. The first episode, it's going to easily be 100,000 people watching.
They'll probably be tipping up at 200. Like,
I mean,
let's be honest,
we'll
they're going to be
see.
somewhere between like 160 and 200. I guarantee you.
But it's
First
definitely
episode of
one
a
of
new
those things.
campaign.
Oh yeah, with new campaign, new everything like that. I'm really excited about it. I do want to see what's going on. I'm upset that the last campaign had like, several different clerics in it, considering, and no paladins, no real traditional, fighters or anything like that. I mean, they had kind of a fighter warlock, and there was a little, I mean, it was neat. The characters were great.
Don't forget Yasha.
Barbarians are not fighters. There's a difference.
They're close.
They're close.
They fill very similar roles in a party.
I mean, Ford turned into a pally from a warlock, which actually was really cool. Becoming like a nature pally. That was pretty neat. I miss the I would say I probably like the second group better than the first group, but I miss sort of the adventures that the first group had.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what Matt has come up with for the third campaign.
Oh, for sure. Because I would say I probably like the second group better than the first group, but I miss sort of the adventures that the first group had. Yeah. And I'm excited to see what Matt has come up with for the third campaign. For sure.
Because Just hoping for a champion. Yeah, like I'm kind of excited to see what Matt has in store for us. Because the second campaign like really turned a lot of like tropes on their sides and on their heads. And I'm excited to see where he challenges the status quo again. Because let's face it, right? Critical Role does something that then becomes canon in D&D. Like Critical Role created Exandria. Exandria is a thing. You know, they have their own book. Like it's definitely going to be a thing. It's really interested to see if this is the world that Matt's going to keep going with, or if he's going to create a whole new thing. So, because we don't know much about it.
Campaign 3 is set to take place in Exandria.
In Exandria.
It will be the same. It will be the same realm.
Yeah. Okay. So it is going to be set there. That's going to be great. Yeah. Rin just brought it up. Have you checked out? I know that they haven't launched it yet. Have you checked out the trailer for the animated series?
I haven't yet. I need to.
It is so good.
I've been very excited for Rise, which is the League of Legends animated series that's coming to Netflix next month. So I've been really focused on that. Because as a giant League of Legends nerd, I have always wanted a way to consume that lore that wasn't reading a very loosely connected set of individual paragraphs on 165 different pages.
Right.
So I'm really excited to see them, because I for a fact, Riot's lore team has put in a ton of work into retconning the lore and making it make sense.
Yeah, like streamlining it down.
Yeah, like there's an actual lore to League now. It's not just like this person, random warlord. But there's just so much now that it's like, there's no way I can read the lore for 162 characters. There's just no way. I don't have the fucking time. I don't have the attention span. My brain hurts thinking about basic math. You should see me trying to count mana playing fucking Magic. Like, all right, I can make... Shit, what comes after 7? So I'm super excited to have that come to a video platform and be animated and fucking...
What service is that going to be on?
That is going to be Netflix exclusive.
Netflix, that's right.
I believe it is confirmed for mid-November, if I remember correctly.
Currently? Like this year, mid-November?
Like this year, like next month.
All right. So I know that like you're the one that goes on rants, but I kind of want to have a little bit of a rant. Mid-November is not a good time to release stuff. Like it's not a good time to release things. Right now, coming this mid-November, is Netflix is releasing Cowboy Bebop. They're releasing, obviously they're releasing Rise. Amazon is releasing The Wheel of Time, which is essentially setting itself up to be like the next, and I hate to use this comparison, but like the next Game of Thrones as far as fantasy series goes.
Yeah.
So, and all of those things are happening literally mid-month in November. Like, how do you justify, like, and you know that Rise isn't going to compete with Wheel of Time, but like Cowboy Bebop is, and those are releasing on the same day. I think I lost Bill. That's unfortunate, guys. But Bill went bye-bye. But yeah, so stop releasing stuff in November. Just spread things out so we can watch all of them and not just one or the other. So anyway, Wheel of Time will drop 3 episodes in the first days, but then weekly. Oh, I like that. So maybe that will help. That's true. It's pretty true. We're working on getting Bill back, but we're going to try to work on some other things first. But yeah, man, Critical Role. And it looks like now I'm Bill. So I guess me ranting about mid-November stuff, definitely a problem. So let's take a look, seeing if I can find what's going on here. I think it's a great time because the old release schedules were based on movie summer times, but this is like home format, and we'll have to generate hype before the holidays.
Sorry
when
about
everybody
that. My PC
will be
decided to
catching up.
crash.
Oh no! Well, at least you're back. That's great. Now we're more correctly aligned in our little frames there. As I was saying, mid-November is when a lot of these shows are releasing. Netflix is releasing Cowboy Bebop on the same day that Amazon's releasing Wheel of Time. So like, there's literally nothing is happening that week, like at all.
Also, I want to correct myself. What I was doing when my PC decided to crash was checking the release date and also the name, because I said Rise and like I said it and I was like, that's not right. It's called Arcane. It's League of Legends Arcane. And release date, I was pulling it up as my computer crashed, but if I saw it correctly in that brief second before everything went blue and put the big sad face on, November 7th, I believe, was the date that I saw.
That is
So
much more
November.
reasonable. So,
but I mean, Riot announced that for their 10th anniversary 2 years ago now. So like, they have planted the seed and just let it linger. So November 6th.
I do love that it's focusing on Vi, and which I have always loved as a character. But I am not as aware of like League of Legends lore as, you know, somebody who's been in it for a long time. Like, I've played League of Legends for years, but I didn't jump into the lore and figure out all the character connections and that kind of stuff. I didn't know that Jinx and Vi were sisters.
Yes.
So that is really interesting.
From what we know so far, or at least what they've shown us in the trailer, it looks like Arcane is going to be mostly focused on the regions of Piltover and Zaun, which is where we get champions like Echo, we get Caitlyn, we get Vi, Jinx, Urgot, kind of all of the really like interesting kind of cyberpunk, steampunky characters in League of Legends are tied to those regions. So I'm super excited. I've always found it like thematically to be the coolest region that League has.
Yeah, it's sort of like the steam, like I think you said, steampunky. Like they figured out a way to manufacture magic rather than like just have it.
Yeah, and yeah. I am sure that if Arcane does well in its first season, that they're going to venture into like Ionia and into the Freljord and stuff like that. And I realize that there's probably at least half of our audience who is like, Bill is starting to talk about rocket science. Oops, sorry. But I fucking love League of Legends. I really do. I talk so much shit about Riot and their games, but I fucking love everything they put out.
I really hope it does well. And the reason that I hope it does well is I want to see my favorite pair of sisters get screen time in a new series. And that is Morgana and Kayle. I want to see my girls on screen in their glory. Those are my two mains, the characters that I have played for years and years and years. Those are the two that I want to see. And if they're not going to be able to be in this series, obviously, because they don't have anything to do with that world. But if Arcane does well, and I hope it does.
I imagine it will.
And
I can't imagine it flopping, even if it is bad.
Yeah. Hopefully it does well. Hopefully it spawns more, like you were saying, more worlds coming into the fray. Us seeing a, here's the origin of Vi from this world here, and the origin of Jinx from this world, how Jace got his start in this world, and then you jump over to these other worlds, and then eventually we get to
the amalgamation of everything
that is everything together. Now that would be really cool. That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
The other thing that I would really love is one of the things that I started doing in the League of Legends client that they had available for a long time, and they've since started like a new launcher, but the client's still available, is go through the Sentinels storylines, right? And like how that's happening, and then the whole like Broken King with Viego, and like all these different, that whole storyline that was happening through the thing. That was really interesting, and how they would recruit people into the Sentinels, and people would become Sentinels of Light, but they were like from different worlds and that kind of stuff. So I was kind of interested to see that sort of stuff play out in the storyline that they released in the launcher.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see them bring all of the effort they've put into the lore to life.
Yeah.
Because it exists on its own page in their website, which nobody goes to. In I shouldn't say nobody. It obviously gets traffic. It's Riot. But like, in reality, most people download League of Legends or download Valorant or download, Legends of Runeterra, and that is their existence with those characters.
You forgot a few steps. They have, once they download those clients, they have to then go get a list of approved slurs to be able to throw at everyone in voice or text chat, because I believe you're required by law. I mean, I think pretty sure it's on the law books in literally every state.
It's part of the Summoner's Code of League of Legends.
Yeah,
you have to use specifically these words.
Yeah, you have to specifically say these slurs over and over and over again in chat until you are muted or squelched by literally everyone. I think that's like required.
Actually, it does bring us to interesting news from the League front. Riot has announced that they are removing all chat from League of Legends. They're completely getting rid of all chat.
I love that.
Here's my argument. Here's my argument. I don't think it's bad. However, there's still going to be text chat in game. So you're still just going to get flamed by your teammates anyways. As toxic as all chat can be, it's not going to eliminate the problem they're trying to eliminate. Second of all, you have to opt into having all chat to begin with.
True.
So like they've already put that mitigation in where it's like, if you don't want to deal with that, then you have to opt into it. It's not an opt out. You have to
taking it out
chat to begin with.
Taking it out though means that the vast majority of what they're dealing with as far as like reports goes has got to be that. The fact that it's that it causes way more harm than it does anything at all. And like, I don't experience all chat. Like, the only time I'm seeing chat is when I'm in game, and realistically, I either mute almost everybody. The minute that I see any toxicity, I just mute them, mute their emotes. I literally watched a set earlier today walk around and do like sit-ups in front of everybody. Like, he literally was sitting doing sit-ups in front of everyone. He was just wandering around. He'd kill them and then do sit-ups on their body, and then and I was just like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna mute you. I don't need to see this. It's just that's all it is. And so I remember like 12, 14, 15 years ago playing League of Legends, and the amount of rage I would hear from my own teammates in voice chat, the amount of rage that I would see coming across in team chat from, or in chat from the other team, was like more than I had ever seen. I played Counter-Strike at a professional level. I did competitive Counter-Strike with some of the most competitive people I've ever met, and I have never in my life seen the vitriol and just foaming at the mouth anger that these kids on League of Legends had back then. I would say that my experience with the game now is way better. The mitigation and the report feature, which did not exist at all back then, the mitigation that they've created, the ability to mute people, the ability to report on a bunch of different stuff, and actually have acknowledgement when that happens. That's cool. Having a system by which you can cheer your teammates at the end of a game because, hey, this person, even though we lost, this person was really cool to play with, or like they kept their cool, or they did this or they did that. Those are all really good things. Those are all ways that I feel that League of Legends has improved their community overall. Now, the thing is League of Legends ever going to get away or ever going to shed the toxic...
Not a chance.
The toxic jacket that they put on when they first started? Even if they fix all the toxicity, like, it's still going to be referred to as, oh, those people play League.
Like, so here's the reality. And I think it's very true of literally every competitive game. As a rule of thumb, every competitive game I have ever played actually has a fantastic community. The vast majority of people who are a part of those communities are wonderful people. I met you and DS through Valorant. I met Celeste through Valorant. I met fucking Mick through Valorant. I've met so many great friends. Some of my close friends who, like, even I met through, like, working together. We bonded through playing League of Legends. Some of my army friends I still stay in touch with playing League of Legends. I've met some great friends playing Counter-Strike. The problem is the good sides of those communities are so vastly overshadowed by the small minority of people who are so obscenely toxic that it looks bad for everyone. Like, nobody talks about, like, the great relationships they've built playing these competitive games. Nobody stops and talks about, hey, like, CSGO had 600,000 concurrent players today, and, the percentage of people who were banned for being toxic or cheating is 2%. Like, nobody stops and puts it in that context of how small the percentage of people who are ruining those things are in comparison to the good things that come from it.
Yeah.
So there's not a chance. There is no chance that no matter how fucking hard Riot locks down League of Legends, or how hard they lock down Valorant, or whatever the case may be, every single competitive game community is going to come down to, yeah, there's some toxic shit in there. Like, it's just the fact of playing online competitive games, period. There's no way about it. Even Rocket League has its toxicity issues. Honestly, Rocket League's probably the most toxic game I fucking play. And they don't even have, like, a full-ass chat system. They just have quick chats. For the most part. You can use text chat. But for the most part, it's just quick chat. And it's the most fucking toxic fucking shit I've ever seen. It's the most, like, sarcastic, passive-aggressive bullshit in the world. But, like, I think it's important. Yeah, I'm a big believer in perspective.
Right.
It is always easier to see the bad in the world. It is always easier to see the toxicity. As humans, we have a natural negativity bias. We all do. It is always easier to chew yourself up over, I did this wrong, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. And it is so much more difficult to sit down at the end of the day and just tell yourself 3 good things that happened today. No matter how fucking small it is a struggle. But they're there. Like, it's something I legitimately do every single day, and especially on bad days. is when I am in a bad mood or I notice that I am like negativity spiraling, because we all do it.
Right. Right.
I will sit down and go, okay, what are 3 good things that happened today? And sometimes it is as small as I got in my car, I started going to work, I hit shuffle on Spotify, and my favorite song came on. Like, it's so incredibly easy to focus on only the negatives. And that's why games like League and Counter-Strike and Valorant will forever just be looked at as toxic communities, because it is so easy for us to remember the negatives as opposed to the positives. It's so easy to say, oh, well, this guy was a dickhead, and this dude called me this thing, and this person used this language. Granted, I'm not condoning that. Like, obviously, that is a problem that needs to be addressed. But it oftentimes is a matter of shifting your own perspective. It's a matter of going, you know what? This sucked. This person fucking ruined the game for me. But I had fun. And, like, or you know, I got into a huge argument today and I felt really disrespected, and linger on that. Or you can go, yeah, but at the end of the day, I got to, you know, I made my favorite meal. I listened to some music. I got in Discord and talked with some of my friends, and we played some games together. We hung out on New World, and we were humble lumberjacks for 2 hours. like finding those little fucking moments and shifting that perspective to fight your own negativity bias is so fucking key. Like, and I urge literally fucking everybody, anybody who's watching this, tonight, when you go to bed, I don't care if this is like 2 years old and you accidentally stumbled upon it on your fucking YouTube feed. When you go to bed tonight, sit down and think about 3 good things that happened. And then tomorrow night, do the same thing. And the night after, do the same thing. Every single fucking day. Sit down and try to take in the good things that happened. Even if it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be like, oh my god, I won $1 million. Like, fuck off. You don't need to think that big. It doesn't need to be perfect world shit. I had a really good fucking sandwich today. Before we started stream, I was feeling tired. I was sore. You know what I did, Duggar? I know you know what I did. I went and made a fucking bagel. Yep. I made a fucking bagel, and that bagel fucking slapped. That bagel was a good thing that happened to me today. That bagel was good.
I very vividly remember the sounds of bagel eating coming across the Discord mic. It sounded fantastic. I don't have a bagel, so I can't experience the same thing that you did, but I will say that I experienced it vicariously through the sounds of you eating it, and it did sound very, very good. And
you
now
had the munches in your ear.
now I have this sudden urge to like go to Kroger and buy a whole bag of like fucking everything bagels and just fucking throw cream cheese on it until it's about 1.5 inches thick and just go to town. Like, I don't know.
Exactly. Like, well, that's my task for anybody who ever sees this fucking video. Somebody out there years from now is going to stumble upon this shit. Think of 3 good things that happened to you today. No matter how fucking shitty your day was. No matter how goddamn terrible. Think of 3 good fucking things that happened, even if it's I ate a bagel exactly 12 minutes before my podcast started and finished it as we were going live.
So what's going to happen is this video is just going to circulate for like 100 years. And then, somebody's going to be like, 40, 50, 60 years from now, they're going to be like, what the fuck is a bagel?
Somebody someday, maybe this will be my claim to fame. Somebody someday after I'm dead will stumble upon this specific YouTube video after YouTube's rebranded to like y.tube.tv. And will visit my gravestone as the guy who told them to think of 3 good things each day.
Oh my God. That's fucking hilarious. All right. That kind of brings me back, like the saying good things to yourself every night is a great option. It's this sort of, we're sort of manifesting the idea of, positivity, right, in our lives, because you can't find it everywhere, and sometimes the world seems to actively try to deny you any type of positivity, and so going through and even picking the smallest thing and saying, hey, this went well today, that went well today, before stream, like kind of tying it back into the whole planning thing, right? Because before we got on and started streaming, we didn't have like a major plan on what we were going to talk about, what we were going to go with.
I would argue we had literally zero plan.
We had literally zero plan.
We went live.
And then, I didn't have any of the graphics done. The thumbnail wasn't finished. Like all of that was like 15 minutes before stream before I got it all fixed out.
A visitor.
Hey, we're gonna take some time right now to do kitty cat visitor time. Everyone, say hello to kitty cat Vizzy.
Hi, Tweet.
Meow. I love you too. She wants her loves. Sorry, guys. This is important. This is a good thing that's happened today. Tweak wanted cuddles.
Cuddle times are important. Kitties are important. I'm hungry.
She's just staring at me.
Oh man. But like wrapping it back around. The world tries so very hard to prevent you from seeing any of the good. And like you said, we do have kind of a negative bias. We tend to gravitate towards information that shows up on our negative. And our news sources do this, right? Our news sources are looking for clicks. So the thing that they do is they pick all the most negative things that they can say and they word it the most negative way they can to get more people to interact with it, because that interaction is what causes them to make money. And so when you're talking to yourself, when you're convincing yourself, when you're going over your day, making sure that you recognize the good things that happen, no matter how small they were, can go a long way in how you feel the next day. It can go a long way in how you feel, even, when you wake up and you're like, you know what? Cool. I got X amount of sleep. And that's more than I got this other time. That's more than I got yesterday, or that's more than this. Or, even if you didn't get great sleep, but like you got something done. Cool. Hey, like I got something done today. And it doesn't have to be big. Like it can be, what we did? We did laundry today. We did a couple loads of laundry. We did the dishes, right? And you look at that, and so for a lot of people, that's just, oh, well, yeah, you do dishes and laundry every day, whatever. And like some people, they don't, right? For some people, that's a huge accomplishment. And so you really should take a look at what are your positives? What did you win? What did you do today? And even if you did nothing, think about this. Even if you sat around and watched videos all day, you can look up and you can go, today I relaxed.
Yep.
Today I took time for myself. And that's a thing that you did. And finding the positive in those things and pushing through to the next day with those positives is going to help you so much more than focusing on what you didn't do, what you didn't accomplish, what you didn't settle, what you didn't say, what you didn't, complete. And I think that can also work in streaming. I think that in your streaming career, if you are looking to go into content creation, one of the things you need to learn really early on is that you can't do and you can't be like always streaming. You can't be always growing. You can't be always doing this or doing that. Being productive 100% of the time is not possible. And even the idea of being productive is in itself toxic. And so I would recommend that if you have something you want to accomplish, pick a small goal of that thing, pick a small facet of that thing and do that thing. And then be happy that that's the thing you did and you completed that, and you can move on and you can do other things and you can go to something else. And don't worry about what you didn't do, didn't say, or didn't accomplish, because focusing more on the positives is going to give you better returns in both your life and your mental health, as well as financial and stream, like monetization related, because people pick up on that.
Like, Duggar, anybody who knows me knows. I know Rin's seen me do it. I know AI's seen me do it. I know Kira's seen me do it. I know you've seen me do it. I know Derek's seen me do it. I like to say my toxic trait is toxic positivity. I am 100% the person that sees you say something bad about yourself and goes, no, be good to yourself or I will fucking fight you. I am the person that will go, fucking, I love you, you're amazing, stop talking like that, you're doing great, or I will fucking fight you. Like, I live in this world of just toxic positivity. I realize it's a silly thing and it's oxymoronic, and it's very intentionally a silly thing and oxymoronic because it makes people laugh. And you know what? Sometimes you need that little laugh when you're beating yourself up about, like, oh, I didn't accomplish this thing today. I'm so fucking terrible. Fuck off, you're terrible. You're not terrible. So what? You didn't mow the fucking grass today. But what did you do? You did something today. You can't devalue your entire existence off of one thing that didn't happen.
Exactly.
Like that's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to set a goal for yourself for the day, and you're not going to meet it. And that's okay. But to immediately tear yourself apart because you didn't accomplish that one thing is fucking asinine. It's just, it's not going to accomplish anything. I know I've talked about it before on the podcast. I've talked about it with many people. The concept of failing forward. Yes, you failed to accomplish this goal. You didn't meet this expectation of yourself. What can we learn from that? What did we do today? What did we accomplish today? Because you accomplished something, no matter how small. Today you woke up, you got out of bed, and you changed your fucking clothes. Like, that can be tough some days. I will be very honest. When I end up in really depressive ruts, because it happens, just like everybody else, it happens to all of us. Sometimes you get in a rough spot, and the things that are the simplest things to do just become the most difficult things in the world. There are days when I get out of bed and I celebrate the fact that I changed my fucking clothes, or that I got in the shower today, or whatever stupid little things that are so trivial that we always take for granted that they're things we do. We still, at the end of the day, have to set aside time to do those things. At some point, you had to make the conscious decision to accomplish something. And sometimes on a really bad day, I got out of bed. Sometimes on a really bad day, I went to the kitchen and fucking made some toast. And you're not wrong to think it's insignificant, but you also can't downplay the significance of it. It is a small thing. It is. But sometimes those small things are huge. Sometimes those small things are really fucking tough. And you have to be able to stop and appreciate yourself. As little as the things that you do can be, as much as it feels like they don't matter, they do. At the end of the day, you're doing something right. You're doing great. You're not still on this fucking earth because you've failed everything you've ever done. It's just not, it's not true. And it's so easy to look at it that way. It is so easy to get into a place where all you see is, I wanted to get this thing done and it didn't happen. As somebody who personally, I have legitimate issues with depression and anxiety. I've got ADHD. I've got the attention span of a fucking squirrel. Like, that's just real. And I know there are plenty of other people who are going to see this, who are either watching it now or are going to see this in the future, who are going to be in similar spots where, you know, sometimes you fucking wake up and you're like, okay, today I'm going to get this, and this done. And it just doesn't happen for whatever fucking reason. That doesn't make you less fucking valid. It doesn't make you less valuable. It doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't make you any worse than you were yesterday. It just means today was tough. And it's important to know that even on those tough days, you are still valuable. You are still accomplishing something. You are getting up and doing what you can. Sometimes, legitimately, there are days where I just don't get out of bed. There are days where I have zero desire to fucking move. And you know what? On those days, I will fucking applaud myself for getting my ass out of bed, putting on some fucking dirty sweatpants that I wore 2 days ago that I haven't cleaned in the fucking laundry, and getting the kids on the bus. It's just something you have to do. It's not something that's this extraordinary task, but on that day it was. And it's important to realize that and value yourself and understand that no matter how small the task is, on any given day, that can be the most important thing you've done. And it's important to understand where that importance lies. And I know I'm ranting and rambling in a much less funny fucking structure than I normally do, but this was one of the things that I've always wanted for this series. Mental and emotional health are so very, very, very important to me.
A creator I follow on TikTok, who goes by the name Domestic Blisters. I think her name is Casey in real life. She talks about care tasks and about how a lot of people assign sort of moralistic value to care tasks and assign a moralistic value to accomplishing tasks or keeping your house clean or, doing those types of things. People assign, you're such a bad mom. You don't keep your dishes clean. You're such a bad parent. You fed your kids macaroni every night for this week. And what she says, and something that we've been trying to internalize and kind of really help. And I think this is true for not just care tasks, but for a lot of different tasks that we have, is that care tasks are morally neutral. Mm-hmm. They do not make you a good person because you can keep your house clean. It also doesn't make you a bad person because you can't. Everyone experiences depression, anxiety, and those types of things differently. And for some people, it's much more debilitating than for others. And some people have no problem getting up, putting clothes on, taking a shower, brushing their teeth, washing their face, keeping the kitchen clean, keeping the laundry room clean, because that's they don't have any anxiety about that. They don't have any issues about that. When I was growing up, all of those things were used as punishments. Cleaning something, doing the laundry, doing all of those things were all used as punishments. They were all used as consequences for something else. So for me, there's anxiety attached a lot to care tasks. And so working through that, learning that there is no moral value to care tasks. There's no moral value to being clean. There's no moral value to having a clean kitchen or having, your bathrooms be clean or picking up after your toddler or feeding them something other than mac and cheese. what I like to focus on and what they like to focus on is, yes, my child ate mac and cheese every night this week. But you know what else? What also happened? My child ate every night this week. Mm-hmm. It's about function, like Sen put it. If the space is functional for you, that's all that matters. And if the space becomes unfunctional, then the care task is simply to make it functional. That's all that it is. It doesn't have any moral value. And I think that that's really powerful for a lot of people. It's powerful, like you said, to internalize and recognize that just because I didn't do the thing doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that something bad is going to happen or that I, don't deserve for good things to happen. What it means is that in this moment, right now, you didn't need that to happen to be functional. That's all it means. It means that you just didn't do it for that.
Yeah.
The thing that I would tie that back to for content creation is try not to tie your worth, your sense of self, and your, success as a streamer, as a content creator, as a YouTube video star, as whatever. Try not to tie those things to productivity or completion of tasks or any of that. Those things serve a function. And if you complete them, the only thing you've done is completed their function. It doesn't make you a good person because you cut your videos in time this week. However, it is okay to feel good about that accomplishment. I don't want people to take that the wrong way. Like Bill was saying earlier, if you do something like that, it is okay to feel good about it. It is not okay to feel bad about it. It is not okay to hold it against yourself when you don't accomplish those things, when you don't complete those tasks. And I think that that's something that we could probably take away from this episode. It's all about planning and kind of figuring out what you want to do before you hit that go live button. Or being able to roll with it and, ad lib as good as possible, right? But the fact that you don't do any of those things, if you don't do any of those things, if you don't plan, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, it doesn't make you a bad streamer. It doesn't make you a bad content creator. And it doesn't reflect poorly on the way that you see your career, your hobby, your downtime. The only thing that it does is it means that that function wasn't needed today. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, it's the Sin puts it a good way. The good feeling should come from I have accomplished something that enriches my day, not I'm a better person because I did this. Right? And that is, it's a way to think about it. And I think that we should figure out and we should tie that into content creation. I feel good when I come up with a new cool, reward, channel points reward for my stream. And I put that into practice or implementation. I'm not a good person or a better person because I did it. Right? It's not going to make me a more successful streamer because I did it. The more successful streamer is I'm already a successful streamer. I'm already doing it. So the only thing that does is it serves a function. And that function is to bring joy to the people of my stream. And I need to recognize that me not doing those things, if I don't go and do that, hey, I've got this idea, but I didn't put it into practice this week, doesn't make me a bad streamer, and it doesn't make me a bad person. It just makes me a person. And it's okay to be a person. Bill. This was Stream of Consciousness. What are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts. Well, I say it every week, and I'll say it again. At the end of the day, our normal three of us, or in this case, two of us, are really just two idiots on the internet. If you have things that you want to hear us talk about, no matter what the topic may be, whether it's emotional or mental health, or why pineapple belongs on pizza, leave them in the comments. Let us know. If you want to hear us talk about something, give us that feedback because we need it. We are just two dudes lost in the world making it happen. If you enjoyed things, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell. You know when we're live. We're always here, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, every Thursday. That schedule may shift. We'll let you guys know when that happens. We're talking about things. But if you want more, I know this hasn't been my normal chaos energy. This has been a more serious and a little bit of a different side of me this week. But if you're interested in seeing more of me, you can find me at www.twitch.tv/I'mDoingIt_. Find me there. Typically 5 days a week when I'm feeling good. Roughly 9 a.m. in the morning to give or take noon, 1 o'clock, whenever I feel like not streaming anymore. Some fun events that we have coming up tomorrow night. We have Hyper Delivery 6 starting. That'll be over at twitch.tv/Dragon Squad Esports. Big Hades speedrun tournament. I will just be commentating the first day of events. This is a bit of an off Hyper Delivery for me. But we got that coming up starting tomorrow and running all the way through the weekend. So if you want to have a good time and some laughs and see some top-notch Hades gameplay, go check that out. Next week, Thursday, I'll probably plug it again next Thursday as well. Pretty much directly following Stream of Consciousness, I will be running in the Game Over Cancer charity marathon. I will be running Hades 3 weapons, potentially an all weapons run, depending on how our donation incentive goes. I've got some really fun people who are joining me on commentary, although I don't have 100% confirmation on either of them yet. But all benefits for that event are going to go to the Canadian Cancer Society. I ran for them last year. It was a really great event. We raised something like $6,000 total, all to benefit cancer research and caring for people who are going through that entire, entire deal. So you can find that schedule. Let me see if I can find it real quick, and I'll post it in chat for you guys. But I will be running at 11:25 Eastern, 11:25 p.m. Eastern, so pretty much immediately following Stream of Consciousness. We'll be getting into that. And then here's the full schedule if you want to check out a really great marathon for a great cause. A lot of people playing a lot of games really fast, all in the sake of saying fuck you, cancer. That's going to be over at twitch.tv/Strizer86. I believe it's 86. It might be 87. Strizer86. I double checked.
There you go.
But that's what I've got going on. Also, you can find me on all platforms. Twitter, YouTube, all social media platforms at I'mDoingIt_.
Well, my name is Duggar. I am currently... you can find me right here on this channel. If you enjoy Stream of Consciousness or you enjoy seeing a dork play video games on his Twitch channel and then reposting them on YouTube, click that subscribe button. If you like this series, hit that bell icon and we will and like the video so we can keep making it. The places you can find me are twitch.tv/soDugger. I am soDugger on literally every platform out there. So if you search for me, you'll probably find me. This week, I've been playing some New World. I will be doing that next week as well. Working on maybe potentially looking into New World partner content creation. So we might be doing that. You might see some more videos for New World pop up on the YouTube channel as well. That said, we're going to be going into our next game of the month pretty soon, which I believe is going to be Kingdom Hearts 2. So yeah, so we're excited about it. I'm excited to start playing, you know, and kind of getting back into sort of that groove of things. That said, this has been Stream of Consciousness. I have been soDugger. That's been I'm Doing It _ Bill, send us out of here.
Send us out of here. Fucking love yourself or I will fight you.